Quest, the evil figure with ultimately a good heart, the hero, battle between good and evil, and the mentor. Because we've been seeing these quite frequently, so I wanted to see if you could come up with, and you are ready to know what they are already. Okay, who wants to start us off? I gave out some balls around here, so let's start off with those people. Give us an example of one of the 6, and then pass it on.
The mentor would be like Sirius Black in Harry Potter.
Okay.
I think the mentor in Harry Potter is Hagrid.
I think the mentor is Hagrid. Okay. Someone agrees, disagrees?
I agree with them, but I also think the evil figure with the ultimately good heart could be Snape, because in the beginning we see him as someone evil, even though we find out towards the end that he was really good the entire time.
Okay.
The mentor could also be Dumbledore.
Because?
God's very
Okay.
I think the evil figure with the ultimately good heart is Malfoy, because he was always, against Harry at the beginning, but at the end he turned for him.
I think the evil figure with the ultimately good heart could also be Draco's mom, because she's evil, but like that where she goes to see if Harry's dead or not, like she asks him if her son's okay, and he tells her yeah, so she says that he's dead so he can go alive.
Okay.
I agree with everyone about the evil figure with the ultimately good heart, but I also believe that Sirius Black could be a evil figure with the ultimately good heart, because in the beginning he was kind of portrayed as the devil figure, then towards the end he kind of stated what he really wanted to do and everything. So
you're saying his archetype, what we
Changed.
perceived his archetype to be, actually changed in the end of the story. Does that happen to any other characters in the story? Any other archetypes we saw? Did that happen to any of those as well? She needs a ball, so I can toss one.
With Harry Potter, like, whenever he starts to get the visions of Voldemort in his head, he starts to feel like he's part of him and he's the evil figure, which in all actuality, he's the hero and kind of like the person everyone looks up to, like the young person from the province is. So I guess that can be a thing like that too, where it changes.
Okay.
I think the quest would be when they're searching for the Horcruxes.
Okay. Quest. Other kinds of archetypes we have besides characters, Claire?
You can have situational archetypes.
We have situational,
settings.
and one more. Symbolic. So when you think about all those kinds of archetypes, that's pretty much the basic elements of a story, right? Archetypes, correct? 2 archetypes that we talked about, and there was debate from questions all this last week and this week before that. Best friend versus the sidekick. 2 archetypes, correct? 2 archetypes that we talked about, and there was debate from people about which one was the best friend and which one was the sidekick. So how does that matter, and how do these 2 archetypes affect the story? Okay, Toby, you have it all.
I think that it matters in the story to know who's the best friend and who's the sidekick, because you really see that character as a different type of person to the main character. And the best friend is basically a sidekick, but it's more so that they give the main character more advice and they help them more psychologically throughout the story.
Okay, so somebody else comment. What does that mean for Harry Potter and Hermione and Ron? What does that mean to our story?
It pretty much means that like Hermione would be the best friend because she's the one who like has all this crazy knowledge and guides him in the best direction possible for himself to keep him out of trouble. She's constantly pulling him away from Malfoy so they don't get in an argument. And Ron would be the sidekick because he kind of just like, oh yeah, let's go do this. Like he just goes along with whatever horrible idea they have. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because Hermione's more the best friend because she's always there for Harry. Like, no matter what they do, she's always there. And Ron and Harry always got into fights a bunch of times, and he left them. Like, when they were in the wilderness and all, he left. So he's just there to kind of help him out. And they are best friends, but he's not the best friend archetype that Hermione is the archetype of best friend.
Okay. Does anyone disagree with that? We've been studying it. It was a debate. Do you disagree with that now? I think many of us have come to see that now. But there was some disagreement about that just last week. Okay? Anyone still disagrees and thinks that it's not best friend, it's not Hermione, that it's Ron? No one? Okay, so studying it. It was a debate. Do you disagree with that now? I think many of us have come to see that now. But there was some disagreement about that just last week. Okay? Anyone still disagrees and thinks that it's not best friend, it's not Hermione, that it's Ron? No one? Okay, so that's good. And then our last one for discussion is going to be the mentor, Dumbledore. Okay? How does Dumbledore being the mentor affect the story? But I have a second part. I want somebody to comment on that. A couple of people to comment on that, but I have a second part to that question.
I think he's kind of a mentor, and he's also kind of like the father and son figure, because he's kind of like a dad to Harry, because Harry's dad died, and he also like guides Harry to do like the right thing, and he tells him like what's right and what's wrong in the situations he's in.
Okay.
Him as the mentor, he just kind of shows him what's right and what's wrong. He's kind of neutral. Like Snape and all, is their way is the only way in his mind, so it's not really a mentor. It's kind of just like he wants him to do what he wants.
I like that comment. Somebody wants to expand on that, what Austin just said? The difference between the other mentors and Dumbledore as a mentor.
My view on that is that Dumbledore is the mentor for eternity, because when you think about it, when Dumbledore's alive, he guides Harry, he guides the children, but even when Dumbledore's dead and Harry dies as well, he gives him advice and motivates him to go back and save.
But not literally, right?
Right.
Right. Okay. Okay. My second part of this question is many of the people you mentioned, actually literally die in the series. All of Harry's mentors eventually die at some point in time. Why is that necessary? Think about the archetypes of the mentor, the characteristics of the mentor. Why is it necessary that these people die?
I think it's necessary because it kind of like gives him that push on being more mature and figuring out who he really is and how he contributes to his society. And I mean, yeah, sure, the mentors help, but they've given him all the information that they could. Like, it's up to him now.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
I agree with Haley because the mentors, guide him throughout the whole story, and then, once they all die, it kind of shows that he learns them and he can do it by himself now.
I agree with Ashley what she said, because like if they wouldn't die, and then the person who learned from them couldn't do it, then there'd be no point of them teaching if they can't go and do it by themselves without their mentors, and there just wouldn't have been a point of them ever even teaching.
Okay.
She said that they gave everything they could, but I think they gave everything that he needed. Like, everything that he needed all through life, they gave.
Okay. Can you give us like a specific example? I like what you just said. It's very profound.
I think he's more outgoing throughout the story. Like, in the beginning, he wasn't very, I ain't gonna go out and actually, conquer what I need. But at the end, from learning, he was outgoing.
So basically, it builds his confidence. Okay.
Okay, so I think they're kind of killed off because he's getting to a point to where he should be able to figure out what's right for himself, and they kind of showed him
how to make that decision. I guess it's
Okay. And Haley wraps up.
To go back to what Austin said about them giving him all the information that he needed, I totally agree, because at the beginning he's very quiet, or maybe not quiet, but less active in like realizing what his role is throughout their world. And later on he starts to realize his worth and how important he is. And from that, like, he develops into a completely developed character, I guess. Like, he just becomes relatable to everybody, whether it's like you lost your parents or you're having any struggles. Like, he just becomes that person for everyone.
Okay. You had one last thought?
I'd like to add something to that.
Okay.
I think it's more so of a kind of a mental issue with Harry. It's not that he doesn't believe he could do it, it's more so that he believes he could do it in a different way. I think that the mentors kind of pushed him in the right direction towards it, because he could do it. He was, most of the time he was able to do what he needed to do, but the mentors kind of helped him along the way to go in the right direction about doing it. Like, a specific example would be with Sirius Black. How he wanted to kill Sirius Black because he found out that Sirius Black had betrayed his father and his mother, but really Sirius Black didn't. And then, kind of in a way, he became a mentor by letting Harry know that it wasn't him and that it was actually, what was his name?
Peter Pettigrew.
Peter Pettigrew, and it wasn't him.
Okay. Claire, last remarks?
Everything that's happened to the story, every person he's lost, every friend he's gained, has added to his self-confidence and his fire. So whenever it came time to finally battle Voldemort, he remembered everybody he's lost, he's remembered everybody he's gained, and that fight was not so much personal between him and Voldemort for his parents. The fight was for everyone, for every mentor, for every friend, for every single person that Voldemort has taken from him.
very good. Very good.
Okay, so those are 3 we did. We talked about those together. Now I want you to do 1. Okay, we've been researching these archetypes in the story. Okay, I want you to take 1 and I want you to explain its importance to me. Remember those guiding questions we talked about? Okay, I want you to take that archetype and go back to those guiding questions. Okay, why is this archetype important? Why should I notice that archetype in the story? Okay, does that archetype make the story predictable? Does it make it more understandable? How does this archetype that I choose influence the story? What is its direct impact on the story? So I want you to choose 1. I want you to write to me a paragraph on that 1 archetype. Okay, I want that explained, not just identifying it, but I want why is it necessary? Why is it important? What does it change? What does it mold in the story? Okay.